The unspoken needs of aging parents aren't dramatic. They're quiet, but they run deep, and when ignored, they hurt more than we realize. What do aging parents wish their children understood, but never find the words to say? This isn't about asking for more. It's about being seen, being heard, and being remembered while they're still here. They don't say it out loud. They don't write it in text messages. They don't demand or expect. But every aging parent carries a handful of quiet hopes, soft-spoken needs that never make it into conversation, but live behind every pause, every sigh, every long silence at the dinner table. It's in the way they wait a few extra seconds on the phone, hoping you'll ask, "Is there anything else on your mind?" It's in the way they bring up the same story again, not because they forgot, but because they remembered. It's in the way they downplay their doctor's appointment just to avoid being a burden. And the hardest part? Most of these needs aren't complicated. They're human, and they've been with them since the day they became your parent. The need to feel needed, the need to still be worth listening to, the need to matter even now, even still. This video isn't about guilt, it's about closeness, not regret, but understanding. Because some truths aren't spoken aloud, not because they aren't real, but because they're sacred. So today, we'll step quietly into those truths, not to fix anything, not to change everything, but to open a door to empathy, connection, and maybe healing. Let's listen to what hasn't been said. Let's hear what aging parents wish we knew while they're still here to feel it. Aging parents may never ask directly, but deep down, many of them carry a quiet longing, the need to still be needed. They don't crave to be busy every hour of the day or to be in charge of anyone's life again. But they do wish they still played a meaningful part in yours. When their phone doesn't ring, when no one asks for their opinion anymore, when life seems to go on without them, it doesn't feel like peace, it feels like distance. And over time, that distance doesn't just create silence, it creates sadness. Being needed isn't about becoming essential to your daily tasks. It's about feeling valued, even in small ways. A simple question like, "What would you do?" or "Can I get your advice?" may seem small, but to them, it means everything. It tells them they still have wisdom to offer, that their experience still matters, that they are still part of the team, including them in plans, even in small ones, a holiday dish, a grandchild's school event. A family decision reminds them they're not just observers of your life, but still contributors to it. These moments don't just engage them. They restore a sense of purpose that age alone can't erase. Because the opposite of feeling needed isn't freedom, it's invisibility. And no parent wants to fade quietly from the life they once helped build, especially when all it takes is a little space at the table to remind them they still belong. 2. The need to be heard, without being fixed. Sometimes, aging parents don't need advice. They don't need solutions. They just need someone to sit and listen, really listen. When they begin a story or share a concern, it's rarely because they want someone to fix their problem. It's because they want to be heard, to be witnessed, to be reminded that their voice still matters. But too often, conversations are interrupted with quick answers. "I know, Mom. That's just how it is now." Or, "Things are different these days." These responses, though unintentional, can make them feel brushed aside, as if their thoughts are outdated, as if their experiences are irrelevant, and as if their presence in the conversation is more of a formality than a necessity. What they truly long for is presence over productivity, a moment where no one rushes to respond, a pause where they can finish a sentence without being corrected, They want to share not just facts, feelings, memories, reflections, and they hope those aren't met with logic, but with warmth. Because listening is more than hearing words. It's saying with your eyes, your silence, your posture, "You still matter. I'm here. I want to know what's on your heart." When we let aging parents speak without fixing, correcting, or rushing, we don't just honor their thoughts. We honor who they are. And sometimes, that kind of respect means more than any solution ever could. 3. The need for respect, not pity. There's a subtle but powerful difference between helping someone and making them feel helpless. Aging parents don't want to be pitied. They don't want the world to look at them with soft eyes and lowered voices, as if they've become fragile glass. What they truly want, what they've earned, is respect. Respect doesn't mean stepping back and letting them struggle. It means approaching them with dignity. It means offering help in a way that feels like partnership, not charity. Because pity can feel like a quiet insult, an implication that they are no longer capable, no longer strong, no longer whole. When adult children say things like, "Just let me do it," or "You don't need to worry about that," they may mean well. But to the aging parent, those words can echo as, "You're not needed anymore," or worse, "You can't do this without me." And yet, these are the same people who once carried groceries with a baby on their hip, who stayed up all night fixing what was broken, sometimes in the house, sometimes in life. They have built, nurtured, repaired, and endured. That strength doesn't vanish with time. It may shift, it may slow, but it deserves to be seen. Instead of stepping in with assumptions, try stepping in with questions. Want to do this together? Or, how would you handle it? Go further than we realize, because they invite rather than override. They honor experience rather than overlook it. Pity whispers, "You're fading," but respect says, "You're still here, and I still see you." 4. The need to be included without begging for time. No parent wants to feel like a burden, and so, as they grow older, many stop asking. They stop calling too often. They stop suggesting get-togethers. Not because they've stopped caring, but because they're afraid of becoming too much. They tell themselves, "The kids are busy. I don't want to interrupt. I'll wait for them to reach out first." But inside, there's a quiet ache. A wish to be part of something. A longing to be included without having to ask. They don't expect to be the center of your world anymore. They understand that your life is full work, children, responsibilities. But in their heart, they still want to know they're somewhere in that picture, not as an obligation, but as someone who still belongs. When holidays pass without an invitation, when important updates come secondhand, when photos are shared online but not in person, it doesn't just feel like being forgotten, it feels like being erased. Inclusion isn't about grand gestures, it's the everyday things. A text that says, "Thinking of you." A quick video call to share good news. Asking, "Want to come with us?" Even when you already know the answer might be no. It's about showing them that they don't have to beg for a space in your life because they already have one. Because the opposite of inclusion is isolation. And no parent deserves to feel like a shadow in a life they once helped build from the ground up. 5. The need to still feel capable. One of the hardest things about aging isn't the gray hair or the slower pace. It's the quiet erosion of confidence that happens when others stop believing you can do things on your own. Not because they say it outright, but because they act on your behalf without asking. They lift before you reach. They decide before you speak. They take over without meaning harm. But to the aging parent, it often feels like a silent vote of no confidence. Over time, even the smallest acts of being overlooked can begin to build a powerful message. You're not capable anymore. And that message, repeated in tiny moments, untying a shoe, refilling a cup, interrupting a task, chips away at something sacred, their sense of independence. Most parents won't fight it. They'll smile politely, let it happen. But inside, they grieve the slow fading of their own hands in their own life. Letting them try, letting them lead, even when it takes longer, isn't just about kindness. It's about dignity. Because what's at stake isn't the outcome of the task, it's the feeling of still being able. And yes, maybe they'll forget a step, maybe they'll fumble. But capability isn't about perfection, it's about self-worth, about the feeling that, despite time passing, you're still someone who can contribute, decide, and function on your own terms. When we give space for that, even in something small, we're not giving charity. We're giving back something they spent a lifetime earning, the right to feel strong in their own skin. 6. The need to be remembered. While they're still here, people often wait until the funeral to say the most beautiful things about a parent. They write heartfelt tributes. They share stories full of love and gratitude. They cry over memories that suddenly feel too far away. But by then, the person it was meant for can no longer hear it. Aging parents don't want to be celebrated when they're gone. They want to be remembered while they're still here. They want to know that their life meant something, that their sacrifices were seen, that their love didn't go unnoticed, and not through grand speeches or once-a-year gifts, but through words spoken out loud in ordinary moments. A simple, "Thank you for always being there," or "I wouldn't be who I am without you," holds more power than most people realize. Because when someone grows older, they begin to feel their world shrinking. Roles disappear, friendships fade, the house gets quieter. And in that silence, they begin to wonder, did I do enough? Do they know how much I cared? Will I be remembered for more than my age or my mistakes? You don't have to make a speech, you just have to notice. Tell them what they meant to you while they're still close enough to hold your hand. Don't wait for eulogies. Give them the gift of being truly seen today, now, while their eyes still meet yours and their heart still beats with hope. Because one sentence of gratitude, spoken at the right moment, can echo in their heart for the rest of their days. And maybe now, you're hearing these quiet needs for the first time. Not because they were never there, but because they were never said out loud. That's the thing about aging. The voice becomes softer, but the heart doesn't. The hopes remain, the longing to matter, to be seen, to be included not as a duty, but as someone who still belongs. Our parents don't always need answers. They need presence. They don't want to be fixed. They want to be heard. And sometimes, all they need is for someone to pause long enough to see the full story behind their silence. If you're watching this and thinking of your mother, your father, or someone who once stood strong and now stands a little slower, this is your moment. Not to change everything, but to notice, to reach out, to remind them that they still matter, while they're still here, before it becomes a regret. Because love isn't just what we feel, it's what we remember to show. It's how we make people feel seen again. And maybe, today is the day you do exactly that. So if your parents are still here, don't wait. Don't let another quiet day pass without reminding them they still matter. Send the message, make the call. Say the words now while you still can. Because sometimes, the smallest act of love today becomes the moment they hold on to for the rest of their life. Let today be that moment. If this message touched something inside you, take a moment to send it to someone else. Let this be the beginning of a better conversation, a more tender one. If this video touched something in you, please consider liking it, sharing it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribing to our channel, Elders Living Better. Every click helps spread more kindness, more understanding, and more healing between generations. Your support means everything, and together we can build a world where no parent ever feels forgotten. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and don't forget to call home.